Right now, there's a 15-year-old sitting in his or her mom's basement thinking to him or herself, I'm fucked. How does this reality even work? Why aren't anyone sitting me down and telling me exactly what to do here? That 15-year-old was certainly me. To some degree, it might have been you too. And right now, there are definitely 15-year-olds out there that are even more confused than we were. I know that there are 15-year-olds out there sitting there right now, utterly freaking confused with how to navigate reality, how to navigate their sexuality, how to navigate their way into themselves, thinking that the answers are out there on the next TikTok, on the next reel, on the next post, thinking that the answer is out there, thinking that the answer is in video games, in porn, in homework, in getting the grades, in getting ahead, thinking that the answer is out there, when the answer always is and will always be in here. Why aren't anyone sitting me down telling me this? I'm sure that a lot of, teens, youth, kids are thinking that to themselves. And so that is what gives me a mission for speaking about what I'm doing here. About perfectionism and about being able to have the courage to live, courage to say no, and courage to care for yourself and others. Because these principles of courage is the kind of foundation, the essentials for living and breathing a life beyond perfectionism. That is the kind of life skills, the kind of activations that we need within kids, youth, and teenagers, yeah? So right now, imagine there's a version of you sitting there and being utterly confused. Not only having their own hormones to deal with, of going from child to adult and being in that transitional stage, that limbo, or that kind of space in between, but also having all of this immense pressure come upon them from the external world, which not really is a world anymore. It's just a device, or it's just a different realm of reality. This is the agenda for those at the very, 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 very top, sucking the life force of our children, of our youth, of our teenagers, sucking the life force out of them into these devices and making them depend on it so that they can't have and activate the courage within them to create a life of freedom, which requires you to interact with reality. Reality here now, the physical reality, grounded reality, here now. This is a time for us who are blooming beyond perfectionism to actually support and help and be there for the next generations. Why? Well, because first and foremost, there we go. Can you imagine all those pling, 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 pling that teenagers has? I rarely have them on. I have them on my Bloom Beyond WhatsApp group in Garden, the Bloom Beyond tribe. That's about it. But most kids don't even turn the notifications off. So they're constantly being bombarded. Because who tells them that? Who tells them to turn it off? Pretty much no one. And even if someone does, they might even be too sucked into it already, right? To actually break free from it. The reason I'm emphasizing this right now is because I know that your subconscious mind is wide open when you're a kid. You get to be programmed exactly how society, the government, and anyone close to you would like you to. Up until when you're like 7 to 14, you're literally just being programmed. But then in that stage there, 7 to 14, you begin to understand that you are your own being, right? That you're not necessarily your brother, sister, classmate. You're not your mom and dad. So you get to basically begin to rebel a little bit if you'd like. Or you can continue to feed into the conditioning, obviously, to be a good girl or a good boy. And so, however, no matter how someone is conditioning you, at this time, you begin to question and kind of reclaim your truth a little bit. So certainly what you're doing in between 7 and 14 years old holds some sort of essence to it as to what you are truly here for. Don't necessarily look at what specifically you were doing, but the kind of things that brought you joy or brought you into the present moment that was when the time flew by. And after having reflected upon that for myself, back to that time for me, I remember I got kind of intertwined in this youth organization called Mot, which means courage. And in this organization that was part of our school, or that got integrated into our school, we learned the principles to have courage to live, to say no, and to care for yourself and others. And so I got those principles installed into me. I got those principles introduced into my system after having, been conditioned a certain way. After also having endured some bullying, some ostracizing, some isolation. And after having discovered that I was pretty different as far as what I was doing and compared to a lot of others at that time, and that I often defaulted to speaking with the teachers and the elder ones rather than hanging around with people at my age, doing the things that they were doing. I was never fascinated by soccer. I didn't want to play soccer. I wanted to be in nature, take photos, and do some blogging, and write, and do horse riding, and public speaking, and leadership. So you already begin to see the parallels between that version of me and who I'm embodying now. I've aligned myself now to the little version of Martina, that youth that began to reclaim her essence. And I'm doing pretty much exactly the same things right now. Just as an adult with integrated life experiences and memories. And this is what I would like and encourage for other kids too. to basically begin to have an arena where they can actually activate their own courage to live, to say no, and to care. Because if you have a kid who's able to tap into that and live from that place, you can actually handle whatever is coming your way in life. Doesn't matter how many world wars that you remember, how much history you remember, how many equations you solve. Doesn't matter. What matters is if you're able to tap into your own courage. Isn't it? When I had this so-called down loud now, this intuitive knowing that this is exactly what I'm meant to attach to this Bloom Beyond business, this mission. I literally got chills because I love helping high performers or adults who have perfectionism in overcoming that. Yet what if I could basically coach these adults, coach you to overcome perfectionism and create a life and business of freedom for yourself, and then bridging this growing personal growth industry to the crumbling education system, where right now there are kids out there who are completely, utterly lost, disconnected from themselves, and swimming in a world of uncertainty. What if we could connect the bloomers, right? The boss bloomers, the sunflowers, the light beings out there, or adults who have life experience, to be able to also coach and serve and help the young ones, the next generation, the new generation. Understanding too that we are not our age. We are simply spirits and souls in these human vessels. And that you as an adult can learn plenty. Reactivate your inner child through being in and around kids and youth and teenagers. And likewise, can the kids, youth, and teenagers learn from you who have more life experience and data points and information to draw upon. Listen, this is truly what gives me a spark like no other. To be able to have this vision and be able to create this right now gives me a whole other level of purpose. Because remember, again, right now, there's a 15-year-old sitting in his or her mom's basement thinking they're fucked. Wondering how on earth they will have a life. Being utterly confused. So this is an invitation to you to consider how you can actually contribute here. By joining the Bloom Beyond tribe, not only are you being coached by me and also being around other people who are on that same journey of overcoming perfectionism and the conditioning that we have literally gotten downloaded from the government and the society and our upbringing, and coming back to our essence. Not only can you do that, but you can also support this vision and even getting connected to the kids, the youth, the teenagers, and be their light. The light in which you needed as a kid. The light that you needed growing up. Wouldn't that be something? It certainly is for me. So you can go to bloombeyond.com/apply to apply. We would love to have you take part in this. I'm so excited to integrate it into the Bloom Beyond business. This Bloom Beyond rebellion, I would rather say, to awaken us all to bloom beyond perfectionism and create a reality and a life from that place for ourselves and for the coming generations. Stay bright, stay brave, and stay balanced.